dollars to donuts, I'm gonna lay you money. I don't think they had this on there, which allowed water to get down behind, rotted out all of that lumber on the sheathing on the house and the studs that were there and this board, and it just pulled away from the house. On this edition of Forever Home, the holes are dug, the dirt's in the dump trailer, we're getting ready to do cement, and we're putting the ledge board on. Let's take a tour and show you what's going. Here we go. Good afternoon, friends. Drew here in beautiful West Grove, Pennsylvania, making progress here on the deck project that we're working on. The guys have finished the holes. We have passed our footer inspection. We're getting ready to pour concrete, and Norm is working on getting the ledge board installed. We've got that here on the back of the house, but now we're working on transferring some marks to the inside so we can mount the support brackets, and we'll take you inside and show you what that part looks in just a second. But let's take a walk down here. So as you can see, this goes down at least 36 inches, and we're 12 inches at the top for the pier, but we widen out to 18 inches down at the bottom to make sure that we have plenty of good support down on the virgin soil down there, where, you know, we're not gonna, as we put the compressive pressure on that ground's not gonna settle. We haven't disturbed it, and then giving it the opportunity to settle back in. Now let's take you over and show you the ledge board. The cement base actually sticks out a little bit from the house. So the guys had to notch this to make some space for how that sits in. But we've got plenty of holding power on here. We're getting our bolts in, our washer head screws in, and they're going into the inside of things. And then of course the next step, we'll get our Z-flash on top of here and bring our house wrap down on top of that. And we've got our ice and water shield, which is back here as well. So we're gonna get all these flashing layers in here correctly so that we know that any water that ever comes down the outside of this building is getting pushed to the outside, and we'll show you more of that probably on a later video. But just to give you an idea what this looks like, you know, we want to make sure that we have something to flash with, that any water that comes down is going to be in front of this, outside and down, and it has the opportunity to get to the outside. It doesn't sit here and soak between these two. If you remember that deck collapse with firefighters in Jersey down in Wildwood, dollars to donuts, I'm going to lay you money. I don't think they had this on there, which allowed water to get down behind, rotted out all of that lumber on the sheathing on the house and the studs that were there and this board, and it just pulled away from the house. So you really want to protect this. You want to have some sort of a ledge flashing on here to make sure that you don't have that problem with your deck at your house. So inside, once we get this board mounted on here the way we want it to be, are going to be two of these brackets, well, three of these brackets, and these mount on the side of a joist on the inside of the house. So you got one in there, and you got one of them out here, and a piece of all thread rod that connects the two, and that's going to bolt right through this ledge board here, and it's going to allow us to put tension from the joist on the inside to the joist on the outside and pull the actual joist members from outside in towards the house. So we're not just relying on a joist hanger hanging on the board here. We're going to be able to have it bolted through in 3 locations every 8 feet. So we'll put one of these in the center, and then about 8 feet this direction, about 8 feet to the far side. We'll have a set inside and a set outside, and really be able to tie these things together. So you multitude of mechanical fasteners where we're actually in shear into the side of the joist, pulling that in, and we'll show you what that looks like on another video later in this process. Now, German's working on a couple different projects now. He's working on cutting our sonotube. We really don't need to fill the whole tube, the whole hole with sonotube. We just need the top couple inches so that it's gonna be pretty. So he's gonna cut these into 16-inch sections, and that's gonna give us just enough sonotube to get down to the top of this hole to make sure the top of this is very pretty and nice, and whatever happens at the bottom as the concrete just spreads and hits the dirt, that's gonna be fine. So he's getting those prepared and ready. We have our J anchor bolts over here, and these are going to go down into that top of that concrete pour, and they're going to hold an anchor plate on the top. It's going to fit in the bottom of our 6x6s. He's already been working on cutting out the notches to receive our beams and where there's going to be. And once we have our cement poured, then we can cut these boards to length. He's got a notch at each end, so there can be some scrap here in the middle, but we're going to cut this to whatever height we need, and our beam spots are already cut in those, ready to rock and roll. So next step is we get some concrete in the ground, so that we make sure that these are all filled up before the weekend, and show you the schematic of what this is supposed to look like. So you can kind of see on here that we've got the pier and a footer, and the footer is going to be 18 inches diameter. We got 12 inches diameter for our pier, and then we're going to have our mounting plate and our J-bolt on top of that. And so the guys are working on getting all that put together now. Let's take you down to the basement and show you what's going on down there. All right, so here inside the basement, we've got our ledger board on the outside, and I showed you the brackets outside. So one of these can get mounted in 3 different locations in here so that we have a place to run that all thread rod through and tie these together. Now we will have to pack out the webbing and get this to the correct thickness, so we got something to actually hold some screws and get this tied together. But this is going to make sure that that deck and at least 3 of those joists are pulling in and holding the ledge board against the house. So that's a critical piece, new codes and everything, to making sure that the decks are secured to the house. They can't pull away, they can't settle. Maybe not a huge deal on a ground level, but when you get a story up, 2 stories up, you absolutely have to have this stuff, and it's required across the board now. So you're going to do it, make sure you do it right. There's a couple different versions. This is one. They also have one one that just screws down into the sill plate, but there's different options available. So make sure you talk to your deck contractor, your designer, or your hardware store about those different options. And when you go to do your permit, they're gonna ask you about it. So make sure you've got those details included. So Norm's walking down at this end. The back door sits an 8-inch drop. You step out of the back door onto the lower deck, you're down 8 inches. And that's what you want. You want to have a step down at the back. We want you that step down so that snow and ice and water doesn't build up and doesn't run underneath the door. Well, with that puts our deck ledge board down also 8 inches, the center over that's going to be give or take, which means it's running right through the middle of the sill plate. That puts the middle of our deck board right in the middle of this sill plate, which is great. But then if you run screws in the top of that, there's nothing but OSB for it to attach to. Norm's working on right now is cutting some lumber and getting that wedged in between these two joists, tagged in so they're secure, to give them something to tie that top of that ledge board into so that that's all secure and where it needs to be. So fun times down here in the crawl space. He's working on that, and we'll take you back outside. I'll show you what we're talking about with the back door, then give you kind of walk through the concrete and the holes. So we were talking in the basement about the height of this ledge board coming across. We're going to be the correct height for to match this deck over here, and we can see that we're down that 8-inch step, and so that puts our ledge board down so it's centered in that sill plate. And so we've got to get some blocking in there in order to have screws to tag this top part in so we make sure we got something holding there. Had to rabbit out the back of the board where the foundation is because the foundation sticks out proud of the sheathing, and I don't want to just Norm doesn't want to just run screws in there because it's going to take that board and pull it cattywampus. Get the top set, then we can get some shims in the bottom, then we can add some anchors to the bottom if we need to. Working on that. German's working on getting his sonotube down in the hole, getting us set for the concrete pour. Once we have this ledge board set exactly and they got the, it's plumb where it needs to be, then we can start pulling measurements off to find the exact center of where our anchor pins are going to go so that we make sure that our posts are centered and equal spaced in all the places that we want them. So it's not just done, it's coat built. So that's sort of the update here as we get to the end of day 2. We're hoping to get the cement poured before the end of the day here. We'll see if that happens or not. And got to get some of our rental equipment back and clean a couple things up, but making progress, getting things done. Once those holes are set and the concrete starts to set up and cure, then we can do our final cuts on our post, get them stood up, and then start framing out the deck and keeping this project moving forward. We can help you solve a problem. There's nothing our team doesn't do. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, decks, anything on the interior of your home. Finished basements, kitchen renovations, bathroom remodels, plumbing, electrical, drywall, spackle, paint. Build your custom dream home in addition to garage. Give our team a call weekdays. They're standing by to answer your calls. 484-748-0008. Choose option 2 for Coat Built, your full service construction and renovation company. Extension 2 for new projects. The fastest way to reach us, take a picture of your problem, send it to us right here on our Facebook page. Click that contact us button there at the top. Our team will be happy to assist you. You can send us photos, show us everything that's going on, give us your complete contact details. You want to learn more about us? Hit up our website, coatbuilt.com. Look us up on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, click the notifications bell so you get updated about all of our current videos that you can be learning some things from. So when you're interviewing a contractor for work on your house, you know the right questions that you want to be asking so you can separate those who know their stuff from those who don't. Like this video, leave a comment down below, tell us what you're learning, ask us some questions. We'll be happy to answer those for you. Also helps us with the YouTube algorithm. So remember, we're finished with it. You're proud to say it's not just done. It was Coat Built. We'll catch you in the next edition of Forever Home. Bye for now.